Os. Welcome UNLV students to the Shotokan Karate Studies program. By now you should know you've already warmed up, you've gotten the warm-up that you feel your body needs, you're adequate for starting the program this morning. So let's go ahead and get started with our typical, quick, general warm-up. Ready? And Hajime. Ichi. Ni. San. Yon. Go. All right, warmed up good there. Let's turn to the side, bring our heels to our glutes. Good, all right. Let's go ahead and do some high knees as well. Get my workout recorded, here we go. High knees. You can do this slow, just like I'm doing. Again, just bringing your knees up. You can do it fast if you feel like kind of bouncing a little bit, working your calves a little bit. Or if you want to go slow, go slow. And yame. All right, let's come up on our toes, stretching out our calves. And yame. Very good. All right, let's go ahead and do some body hip twists. And yame. Good. Arm up, across the side, stretching out our shoulder. Good, other side. Again, don't hold these too long. Just doing dynamic stretches here. Nothing too static, nothing being held for too long. Switching over. Other side. Good. Feet just widen shoulder width. Go down, touch the floor. Go to the right. Back to center. Go to the left. Back to center. All right, make that a little wider. We're gonna go down to the right, turning up on our left heel, stretching out our hamstring. Good, now we're gonna turn to the left in a long front stance. Pushing on the quad here, pushing the knee over the toe. And now to a runner stand, or a runner stretch. Good. Back up. All right, we're gonna do everything to the other side now. Leaning to the left onto the right heel. Toes pointed up. Stretching out your hamstring. All right, let's rotate that all the way around. Good front stance, long, deep, pushing on the quad, pushing the knee out over the toe, getting a good stretch. Transition that to a runner stretch. And come back to center, come back standing. Good. Turn around, fix your gi. Back to me. Yoi. Subirachi. Free. Yoi. Seiza. Dojo-kun. 一つ、人格完成に人を盛ること。一つ、誠の道を守ること。一つと力の精神を養うこと。一つ礼儀を重んずること。一つ景気の湯を戒めること。Ready? That's it. よい。素晴らしい。Ready? よい。Today's class is a beginner class, and what I'd like to talk about today is my Geri. I know we've had a class on this in the past, and again, as a beginner, I just want you to really focus on this kick because it is important as you start moving forward in your journey through whatever you happen to be doing, right? Whether it is earning rank or just practicing the art. So what I'd like to start off with is the kata Takeyoku Shodan, right? So this is a kata that you should know or you should be working on for sure. At this belt level. So what I'm talking about as far as belt levels, you should be no belt, you should be white belt, you should be yellow belt if you're looking at taking this class. So Takeyoku Shodan is very appropriate for the kata that we're going to do. We may also do Heian Shodan as well, just to mix it up a little bit. Then we're going to do some Mai Geri front kick drills, and then we're going to wrap up with those two kata. All right. So let's go ahead. Hopefully you're warmed up, all right, because I want to make sure that your legs are warmed up. You've gotten a pretty good dynamic stretch, okay? I don't want you to get into static stretching as far as your warm-up is concerned. But hopefully you've gotten a pretty good dynamic stretch and gotten your legs warmed up because, again, we are going to be doing a lot of kicks today. I may even have to bring in the bag to demonstrate a couple of things, all right? So let's go ahead and start with Takeyoku Shodan. Let's go through protocol together, and then you can do the kata on your own with your own speed and pace, okay? Ready? Yoi. Subarachi. Right? Yoi. And now it's your kata. Takeyoku Shodan. Let's start my timer. And Hajime. Good. You can keep going if you need to. I took that one pretty slow. And yame. Good. All right, let's go ahead and go through that kata one more time. Let's pick up the speed a little bit, okay? We all need to practice, so let's go through it. Ready? Again, pick up the speed a little bit from what you just did. Going through it that first time, going through it at a pretty slow, all right, pace. This time, let's pick it up to a what I would consider a competition pace or the pace that you would be demonstrating. Okay? Ready? Yoi. Subarachi. Right? Yoi. Takeyoku Shodan. Hajime. may. Good. Just wanted to give you a couple more seconds to finish up. All right, so let's talk about my Geri, your front kick. So first, let's get into a Geri right. All right, Geri down block, left leg forward, okay? All right, so whenever you're looking at your my Geri, your front kick, what you should be focusing on here is changing your center of gravity, all right? I feel like a lot of students, when they kick, okay, so just to show you a regular my Geri, all right, a couple things happen. Number one, they kick off of the floor, all right, so what do I mean by that? Well, the first thing they do is they lift their heel, and then they press their toes into the floor and press, okay, press off the floor to throw this kick, all right? And so what I want you to do is to just lift your entire foot and come up just to have your knee up to here, right? And this is pretty weak. If someone were to press here or press here, it's gonna fall back or you're gonna be pressed down to the floor. You can change that by pushing your chest out, okay? So I want you to kind of focus on that, is when you come up, number one, lift your lift your back leg. Don't press off the floor, okay? Don't do that. Instead, lift your leg and then bring your chest out. So this. Now your center of gravity is shifted forward. Now this is stronger if someone were to press back, and it's stronger if someone were to press down on your leg. Okay? And you can have someone try this. If you have a partner that you're working with, do that. Okay? See the difference in the two. All right? First, try by the normal, whatever you've done up to this point. Okay? Get up to this section here and have someone press down on your leg. Have someone push your knee back. Okay? There's going to be weakness there. All right? It's not going to be a sturdy and stable structure. What I'm changing here is how you're presenting your center of gravity and shifting it forward. Okay? Again, get into a Geri right down block. Okay? And now I want you to kick. Don't kick off the floor, lift your entire foot. Don't perform the entire kick. Get to a knee up position. Okay? Shift your chest forward. All right, so try that a couple times. Shift your chest forward. Feel the pressure if you push back and down, that it is stable. All right, so I'm going to give you a couple chances to give that a try. So if you need to pause the video, please pause the video and try that a couple times, because again, I want you to really focus on lifting your foot and not kicking off the floor. So lift. And transition your center of gravity forward. Come up and pause there, right? Because whenever we talk about these kicks, we talk about there being an up and out, a back, and a down stage of the kick, right? So it's like 3 stages. And this is stage 1. So I want you to focus on stage 1 and really show that there are 3 stages. This is stage 1. Stop at stage 1. Show that you have that control, right? Work on that control. Work on lifting this foot and not kicking off the floor, because this is what most students will do. They will bend their leg from here, press on the floor, and throw the kick. It's weaker, all right? It's definitely not as strong as it could be. So I want you to focus on lifting that foot, okay? Shifting your center of gravity forward, because then the kick becomes much more powerful. All right? So think about it that way, all right? Take a few seconds to practice that, and I'll meet you right back here. All right, welcome back. So hopefully you got that practiced, all right? You got that leg up, and you didn't press off of the floor. You lifted your foot, and you moved that center of gravity forward to be ready to execute that kick, all right? So now I have my bag in place, and I want to look at the my part of the my Geri, the MAAI. This is the distance, okay, that you are from your opponent. And this changes based on your stance, okay? So it doesn't change how close you need to move to your opponent, All right, so I want you to kind of think about that for a second. If my stance is here, right, and I go to throw this front kick, I don't make it, right? I'm not going to move, all right? I'm not going to move at all. The only thing I'm going to do is shift this knee, ankle, and foot forward. I'm changing my center of gravity. And now I'm going to execute the same kick. Okay? Again, this didn't move. Now for more power, I can shift forward again. Okay, so I'm just shifting forward till I'm comfortable. All right? My back foot is still where it is. I haven't stepped any closer to my opponent, and now I'm going to execute the same kick again. All right? Do you see the difference in how you can make that change? I'm going to move my arms. So hopefully you can kind of gauge and see the difference with just that amount of work. All right, it's not a lot of work. The only thing I'm doing, again, is I'm in a front stance and I see my opponent here in front of me. Now if I go to kick, again, I can tell, I know that I'm not close enough to execute this kick and have it make contact. I'm real close, yeah? Not close enough. So what do? Just shift forward slightly. That's all it takes, okay? This is something that you're going to start to learn, that even though your stance is good and you feel like you have good distance, all it takes is a minor change. That's it, this minor change to now make contact, okay? I'm just changing my stance slightly by changing the center of gravity. And I'm now making contact with my opponent, all right? So again, this is something I want you to think about and something I want you to work on. So try that a couple times if you can, all right? If you have a bag, great. If you have an opponent that you can work with, a partner, even better. If you have a bag, that'll work. If you have just the wall, a soft target of any type, a pad, okay? Any kind of pad that you can hang on the wall, try this kick, okay? Still your front kick, it's still coming up off the floor. So I don't want you to forget what we've already talked about, employing these same techniques, right? Get into your regular front stance, okay? Instead of kicking off the floor, lift your foot to change, right? Keep this leg bent, keep this center of gravity changed, moving forward, right? To execute the kick, okay? And then understand the my part of my getting, all right? Understand the distance that you are from your opponent and how you can shift that very simply by adjusting your ankle and your knee, okay? Just by making that simple adjustment, you're gonna get more distance out of your kick and therefore more power potentially, all right? So try that a couple times and I'll meet you back here. All right, so hopefully you got to practice that a few times, understanding how you can change your distance just by adjusting small portions of your stance, right? You don't have to move any closer to your opponent. You just have to be able to adjust your stance. And I want you to understand how that works, because in Kumite, right, you can do that without letting your opponent know that you're moving closer, right? Just by standing, right, and you see your opponent is standing there and you know, okay, I'm not quite close enough. All I have to do is this. It makes a difference. And your opponent doesn't know what you're doing, right? Your opponent just sees that subtle change and can look at it and say, he or she is getting lower, right? They are preparing for a punch. Could be Gyakuzuki, could be Oizuki, right? I can stand here just like this and get a good Kazamazuki in just by leaning forward, right? I can lean forward and get ready for a good Gyakuzuki reverse punch. But I can also lean forward to make sure that my kick is going to connect. All right, so just some pointers, just something that I wanted to point out, and hopefully you'll start working on that. All right, so now let's work on a couple drills. Okay, we're just going to move across the floor, forward and back, and I'll move from that side to that side, and then we're also going to move towards you, and then I'll come back. This is all going to be my Geri front kicks. We're alternating feet, right and left, as far as the kick is concerned, all right? But it's just my Geri, all right? If you want to do Kiyagi, do Kiyagi. If you want to do Kikomi, do Kikomi, all right? I want you to work on what you feel you need to work on as a student, because this is the time to do it, when we're drilling this type of kick, all right? So start on this side. Ready? Get it, Michael. Take. Heel. My Geri front kick, right? If you want to put your hands on your hips, you can do that. I just want you to feel comfortable, and I don't want you to feel like your hands are kind of floaty as you go through this, okay? Because as a beginner, you're not really sure what to do with your hands. If you want to keep them in a fighting position, you can do that as well. I'm going to leave it up to you, all right? Front kick, okay, with your rear leg. Ready? Practice what we've talked about. So I want you to lift your leg and don't kick off the floor. And ich, ni, so, shi, one, ich, ni, so, shi, one. You know what I mean? Good. All right, let's do it again from this side. You're gonna have to put your arms down so I can work. All right, ready? Get it, Michael. Take. Heel. My Geri front kick, rear leg. Ready? Ich. Ni. So. Shi. What? Ich. Ni. So. Shi. What? You me? Good. All right. I'm not going to move towards you. I want to discuss something else before we get back and do that drill again. And that is the speed with which you kick. A lot of people feel like this is very important because your foot can get caught, right? So if you have a partner, great. If you don't, it's a little bit harder to demonstrate. Yeah, it's harder to demonstrate for sure because you'd have to have something that you can rest your foot on after you kick, right? You can't even really do that with a bag. So I'll try to just demonstrate and talk about it as much as I can. Your rear foot, or what becomes your rear foot, right? When you kick, this foot can potentially become your rear foot, right? Because you're stepping forward, right? What we just did in that drill, we stepped forward. We didn't kick and come back, right? We kicked and came forward, all right? It's important that you're not turning that foot, okay? What I don't want you to do, and I'm gonna face you, is turn this foot out, right? So I see a lot of this with other students as well. So when they kick, it's actually even hard to do, but they turn the foot out, all right? And again, we talked about this transitioning from step to step in Zen Kusudachi, right? Whenever we're walking in front stance, yeah, we transition our weight onto this foot and step, and transition and step. And what that keeps you from doing is telegraphing, right? We talked about that as well. It keeps you from kicking that foot out and then stepping, and then kicking that foot out and stepping. Same thing goes with your kick, right? What I don't want you to do is kick that foot out, okay? When you kick the foot out and then kick, you become weak. And what do I mean by that? Well, let's say someone caught your foot, okay? And I really wish I had a better way to demonstrate this. Maybe I can leave my bench. Okay, this should work. So when my foot is here and my foot is sideways, I don't really have much power to pull back, okay? Because my foot is sideways. My body is forward because I tried to execute that kick. If they grab a hold of your foot, two things can happen. One, you can't pull back, so you're at their mercy. Two, it's easy to block, right? All you have to do is just a quick move it over to the right, because you kicked with your right. Sorry, move it over to their right, because it just dumps you over because your foot's facing that way. It means your body is partially already facing that way, so whenever they are standing here, they go to block it, it's easy just to roll that kick away, all right? But if you keep this foot facing forward, okay, same kick, foot is more forward, right? And now I pull back, let's say I caught my foot, now I can pull this whole bench, right? It's much easier for me, sorry, lost my balance. But again, this foot is forward and the kick is there, it's easier to lift this bench and pull back and press down. I have much more power here. It's also harder to dump me left and right, okay? Because my foot is facing forward. My energy and movement is forward. I'm not already teetering to the right because my foot's out here. Right? You see how my body just changed because my foot is turned this way? If my foot is forward, my body is forward, my center of gravity is forward, I have more power. Turning this way, they catch my foot, I can't pull as well here. Right? I don't have the power and the ability to do that. All right, so think about that. Whenever you go to kick, think about what your front foot, that then becomes your back foot, is doing. All right, this is your support leg. All of your weight gets transferred to this leg when you kick, because you're standing on one foot. Yeah? Whenever you go to kick, you're standing on this one foot. So this is where everything is hinging upon. So if someone catches your foot mid-kick, if your foot is facing forward, it's easier to pull that leg back, all right? It's definitely not as easy if it's turned out and they catch your foot. You're already kind of teetering forward anyway. All of your weight is forward, so you can't pull back. If your foot is forward, right, you can control this kick. You can control it enough to say, do I want to set down forward or do I want to set down back, right? And you can kick and come back, or you can kick and go forward. But if you're sideways with this foot, okay, it's hard to demonstrate because it's hard to do it wrong after doing it right. But if it's sideways, we're going to try to go ahead and put it there and then kick. There's definitely no way to balance, right? You start to fall. So think about that whenever you're performing this kick. Make sure that foot doesn't turn out. Because the tendency, right, if you're learning, is to try to get as much balance as possible. And so you think your body would say, okay, well, I'm going to turn that foot, and then it's easier for me to stand on it. That's not true. When you're standing here like this, and I would tell you to stand on one foot, you just lift your one leg, and this foot would still face forward. But for some reason, when people go to kick, they turn this foot out and then kick. All right? So you have to fight that tendency. You have to fight your body's tendency to want to turn that foot out, instead keep it facing forward as much as possible. Because that's what our stances do, right? Right, whenever we're walking in stance, we move forward by not turning this foot. We lean on this foot. And that's what we're doing with our kick as well, right? This foot doesn't kick out. We're just executing a kick, and therefore you're lifting your foot off the floor and kicking. Again, that foot doesn't turn out whenever I'm, right before I make a move, right? Right before I move forward, my foot doesn't do that and then kick. This is all part of, I've talked about before, why you don't want to telegraph and kick that front foot out. This is one of the other reasons, is because whenever you go to kick, it can weaken your kick. It can make your kick not able to be pulled back, so you don't have as much control over the kick. So think about that, all right? Work on that as much as you can. Work on not kicking that foot out whenever you're going to make that kick, all right? Okay, so let's work on it in a drill. I want you to try to make your kick as pretty as you can, as powerful as you can, have as much control over it as you can. All right? Okay, so we're going to work the same drill that we just did, okay? Then we're going to go back and wrap up class with Takeoku Shodan and Heian Shodan. All right, ready? Get it, mark, take. Hip. All right, put your hands where you're comfortable. I want you to go ahead and perform your my Geri kicks on my count, okay? Thinking about the things that we've talked about thus far, lifting your foot off the floor, not telegraphing with that front foot, making sure that front foot that becomes your rear foot faces forward whenever you're performing this kick. Knees should stay slightly bent throughout. Ready? Ich. Ni. So. Shi. One. Ready? Ich. Ni. So. Shi. One. Yeah, man. Good. All right. Hopefully you can feel the difference. All right. Hopefully you're seeing the difference, right? If you have to record yourself and then go back and look at it, or if you have mirrors available, you can check to see if you're turning that foot out. Are you turning the front foot, which becomes the back foot? Are you turning it out? Even as you step forward, even in preparation, all right? A lot of people, because they get used to it when they walk, because they do this, will do it when they kick. So try to pull yourself out of that habit as much as possible. Try to form this new habit of leaning into the transition, right? Leaning into what you're doing, being mindful of that, lifting, kicking, and then you can make that decision, right? We've talked about this before as well. Whenever I go to kick, right? When I get to this point, I can decide I'm going to kick and set it down back here. I'm going to kick and set it down up here. Okay? And you should be able to make that decision after the kick. So try this a couple times. I'm going to turn this way. Kick, and then come back to this point. Okay? Ready? And then set down. But I'm going to make a decision on where I'm setting down. Okay? Not moving this foot. Okay? Keep your front foot. You can choose right or left. I'm keeping my left foot forward. Toes digging into the ground. Okay? And when we get to the up point, I'm going to tell you front or back. And I want you to transition to there. So once you kick, I'll say front. I want you to move forward. I'll say back. I want you to come back to this position. All right? Just to see how much control that you're able to have whenever you don't move and telegraph with this foot. All right? And you should be practicing this. Okay? Ready? Ich. Front. Reset. Knee. Back. Some. Back. Sheep. Front. Okay? Yeah, man. I want you to take some time, practice that on both sides for your left and your right. Okay? If you have someone who could call it, have someone who can call it for you. After you kick, as soon as you go to kick, have them say front or back and transition there. Transition to the front or transition to the back. Okay? Actually, because I have time, I'm going to stand here and do that for you. So I want you to perform the kick. So I'll count with ichi, and I'll say front or I'll say back. And I want you to control whether you're landing on your kicking foot or you're setting it back down behind you. Ready? Ich, front. Reset. Knee, back. Son, back. Shi, back. Good. Go. Front. Reset. Again, change sides. Ready? Ichi, front. Reset. Knee, front. Reset. Some, back. Good. Shi, back. Go, front. Good. Reset and yame. Try that a couple times, right? You have to rewind that section of video and go over it. This time switching left to right, or rewind it and go right to left, so that hopefully it's a bit of a surprise for you. It's not, I'm just going to memorize, he does 1 this way and then 3 this way and then 1 this way. Hopefully switching left and right a couple times will get you to the point of it being a surprise and you're able to kind of go through that drill on your own. Or again, like I said, if you have a partner, and then when you have to be your partner in karate, you can just say, hey buddy, sitting there on the couch, I'm going to practice a couple of kicks. After I kick, after you see me kick, I want you to say front or back. And I'm just going to land it the proper way. All right, that's all it takes. It doesn't take someone who has to be a student wearing a belt and a gi to help you get through these drills. All right. Okay, let's go ahead and do Takioku Shodan. All right, to get ready to close out class. And we're also going to do Heian Shodan. All right, so some of you may not quite know this kata yet. Hopefully you do. Hopefully you've picked up on it a little bit in classes before, or, right, you know Takioku Shodan. Same pattern, okay? We're just making a couple of nuance changes. All right, so let's try Takioku Shodan first. Ready? Let's go through the protocol together. Yoi, Subarachi, Rin, Yoi. Takioku Shodan. Your own speed and pace. Hajime. And yame. Very good. All right, let's go ahead and finish out class with Heian Shodan. All right, this is your first traditional kata. Okay, not a lot of differences in moving from Takioku Shodan to Heian Shodan. Mainly, there's a hammer fist at the beginning. We're doing age-uke rising block when we move down the spine. Okay, and then instead of repeating the first pattern when we get here, we're just doing 4 Shitokes. All right. Other than that, you're basically doing Takioku Shodan. Same pattern. Okay. So if this is something that you're learning, hopefully you'll learn this quickly based on the fact that you know Takioku Shodan. So let's go ahead and give it a try. Heian Shodan. Ready? Protocol together. Yoi. Subarachi. Rin. Yoi. Now it's kata. Heian Shodan. Again, your own speed and pace. And hajime. And yame. All right, very good. So, hopefully you got a lot out of this class. Learning your kicks a little bit better, trying to break some bad habits of my Geri before they become bad habits, right? Really focusing on how to properly execute that kick. All right, let's come back to center. Yoi. Subarachi. Rin. Yoi. Stays up. Today's meditation, I want you to kind of go through that kick. Think about some of the mechanics that I've talked about, okay? Not kicking off the floor, lifting the foot, okay? Changing your center of gravity, chest out as you set over your knee, okay? And then making that decision on that kick, all right? And mark. So, walk through your knee, sense in your in. Hit the tape. Yoi. Subrachi. Right. Yoi. Os. All right, students, thank you for joining me for today's beginner level class. We'll see you next week. Os.